Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam, and you are watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies. And today I'm going to tell you about all the best stuff that Netflix is adding in October 2020. So it's October already. We are in the home stretch of 2020, which is easily the shittiest year in most of our lives. But it is October. It's Halloween month. Ton of horror stuff getting added this month. We're going to talk about some of the classic stuff getting added, as well as some of the new Netflix original things that they're adding throughout the month. This video is sponsored by CyberGhost VPN. Later in this episode, I'll tell you more about how you can access even more movies using your current Netflix subscription with CyberGhost. But let's go ahead and cover everything that they're adding on October 1st. So for a couple of thrillers, Along Came a Spider is just a great classic thriller based on a book starring Morgan Freeman. It's a little dated at this point, but still works pretty well. One that's even more dated, but that works even better today is Basic Instinct. This was a huge hit when it came out. Super sexy thriller, famous scene with Sharon Stone in it, but it also makes just a really pretty killer thriller. Black 47 is a somewhat recent release that's set in Ireland during the Great Famine. And then Enemy at the Gates has been around for quite a while, but it is a great World War II sniper type movie. This came out very close to Saving Private Ryan, and while it's not nearly as good of a movie, it is almost as entertaining. It really is an entertaining movie. Some stuff is a little bit far-fetched and not quite accurate to the true story that it's based on, but still a very good piece of entertainment. And then one of my favorite thrillers of all time, Fargo, gets added. If you've never seen this, I cannot recommend it enough. It's a highly recommended movie from Darren Van Dam, but odds are most of you have seen it. If it's been a while, trust me, Fargo is way better than you remember. Moving on to some other genres, you've got an opportunity to do a Matthew McConaughey double feature with Free State of Jones, which is one of his more recent releases, and Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, which is from the days when he was doing a bunch of rom-coms before he got back into some serious roles. If seeing Nicolas Cage and Ghost Rider once was not enough for you, you'll get another opportunity to watch it here in October. Could make a decent Halloween watch for some young adults. I doubt anybody else is really going to care too much about Ghost Rider this month. Gran Torino, fantastic Clint Eastwood movie. Not only is he great in it, he directed it, and it's a good sort of old school type movie. I don't know anybody that doesn't really like this movie very much. I don't like some of the performances in it outside of Clint Eastwood's, but it is still a pretty tight flick. A good Halloween recommendation this month is House of a Thousand Corpses. This is the first feature film directed by Rob Zombie, who went on to do some Halloween remakes and all sorts of great stuff. This is maybe his weirdest and least accessible one, or at least one of them, but it has become a cult classic. It's weird, it's wild, it's super dark. If you want to sort of push the limits on what you maybe are going to watch during October this month with respect to Halloween picks, House of a Thousand Corpses is a decent way to go. One for the whole family is The Pirates, Band of Misfits. This is from the same animation studio that does Wallace and Gromit. Not only is it a fantastic stop motion animation style, it's really funny. It's got a very good sense of humor. I love this animation studio. Everything they put out is a lot of fun. And this is a great one to watch with the kids because you're going to be entertained as well. The Outpost is a modern warfare flick that's only a few years old. Kind of mediocre reviews on it. I have not seen it, but it's one of the picks getting added on the first that I'm the most interested in right now.
Never stop running.
Yeah, and I'll never stop chasing you. I'm relentless. I'm like the Terminator.
I'm more like Terminator than you.
I said it first. You're more like Sarah Connor. In the first movie too, before she could do chin-ups.
Hunt for the Wilder People is a fantastic comedy. I want to say family, but it's got a lot of inappropriate stuff. So not for young kids, but it is about a boy who goes off into the wilderness, and it's just got a fantastic sense of humor. This is from the same director as Thor Ragnarok, Jojo Rabbit, and What We Do in the Shadows. Very fantastic sense of humor here. It takes place in New Zealand, so the landscape is beautiful, but it also has this quirky sense of humor that at least Americans tend to find really hilarious. And in addition to being funny, this is just sort of a nice, heartwarming story. I really love this film. Another one that's kind of heartwarming but that does have a dark edge to it is Stranger Than Fiction. This does star Will Ferrell, but it's very far from what you're used to seeing him in. In this, he starts to hear a narrator in his daily life that suggests that he is going to die soon. And it's got this very interesting setup where a famous writer is sort of writing the story about this man, and he's a real person and he can sort of hear the story being written. As far out as it sounds, again, just sort of a beautiful, ultimately kind of a heartwarming movie, but it does wrestle with life and death, so it is a little heavier than you might expect. And then if you want funny and you're not in the mood for something heavy at all, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls gets added. They're also adding Superman Returns, Troy, and War Games. And then if you just want something to like turn your brain off to, that is not a very good movie, but that is entertaining and kind of fun to watch, Poseidon is a remake of the Poseidon Adventure. I love the Poseidon Adventure. It's one of my favorite like classic action adventure movies. The remake is not nearly as good, but still a spectacle, and if you've never seen it, it could make for a good sort of like Friday night watch. Now, before moving on to the rest of the month, this video is sponsored by CyberGhost VPN. Like all VPN services, they keep your web browsing safe and secure so nobody can see them, including the government. But they also have specialized servers that allow you to access Netflix in different countries, and there are vastly different selections in different countries. And that doesn't mean that if you watch German Netflix, everything's in German and it's only German movies. No, there are big blockbuster movies that are available in other countries that are not available in the US. Likewise, if you're in another country and you don't have access to all of the ones I'm talking about in this video, you can unlock them using CyberGhost VPN. And it's relatively risk-free. They have a 45-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like the service or you find you're not making good use of it, you can get your money back. They have great 24/7 customer support, and you can use it on up to 7 devices simultaneously, and it's all the different types of devices you use. So check out the link in the description and unlock more movies using a CyberGhost account. I've been using it for a long time, and I know a lot of my viewers have as well, which is why they've been sponsoring the show for so long. It's a great pairing with the channel because of the nature of the type of recommendations I make. So if you want to access more, again, check the link in the description. But let's move on with the rest of what October brings. October 2nd brings a new family show called Go Go Corey Carson. There's a Halloween special. This is for very young kids, but my 4-year-old still loves to watch it. He finds it funny and engaging, and there's nothing that is inappropriate for kids whatsoever, and it's pretty well produced as well. Dick Johnson is Dead is a Netflix documentary about a filmmaker who's doing sort of this weird project where she's filming her father dying in a bunch of scenarios, and it looks really funny. It's got a very good sort of quirky sense of humor to it from what I've seen, but it also delves into her father starting to suffer from dementia, which starts to come on, I believe, during the filmmaking process. So I'm sure it's going to be very heavy, but it also has little quirky moments in it like this one.
Can you just like put one arm up against the wall? Like, yeah, that's nice.
Also on October 2nd, Song Exploder is a new Netflix series that I'm going to date myself here, but if you're around my age or older, you probably remember VH1's Behind the Music. This is going to be different musicians diving into like the creation of their songs, their recording process, things like that. Looks interesting. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know how well it's produced, but I'm definitely going to check out the first couple episodes. October 4th brings Colombiana, which is an action flick starring Zoe Saldana. She is fantastic. She's in a ton of stuff, but very rarely is she the lead and the star. And while Colombiana is not a great movie, she does do a good job carrying it and maybe making it better than it otherwise would have been. It's PG-13, so you get that neutered action, which I typically do not like, but Colombiana is a good watch, especially for something on Netflix right here at the beginning of October. And also on the 4th, they're adding A Life on Our Planet, which is a new nature documentary narrated by David Attenborough, who does a lot of the fantastic stuff we all love, like Planet Earth. I always love everything that he's involved with, so I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this at least a little bit. Okay, and I told you they're going to be adding some Halloween picks. There are several. They lead all the way up to Halloween with some of their horror picks, but one that is probably a little more family friendly is Hubie Halloween. I think I'm saying that right. This is the latest Adam Sandler movie.
Would you lose your thermos?
Oh, that'll never happen.
Anyway.
He's doing like one of his on the spectrum characters in this one, which some people hate, some people love. I have found the Adam Sandler projects that are Netflix originals to be pretty funny. Some of them funnier than others, but this looks like it could be a decent family watch. You may want to check out the parental guide before you jump on that one, because you can never really tell with Sandler. And then on the 9th, The Haunting of Bly Manor is a new series directed by Mike Flanagan, who did The Haunting of Hill House, which was a huge hit last year. This is essentially an anthology series now, where it's going to be a similar theme, similar production value, different characters, and a different story. If you loved Hill House, I don't know why this wouldn't be just as good. On the 13th, they add The Cabin, which is a new Bert Kreischer series that says it's a comedy special, but it's not really a comedy special. It's more about him traveling, kind of trying to get his life back together. He is a comedian I've been a fan of for a while, but he has struggled with weight and, I don't want to say alcoholism, but the guy drinks a lot. And this series seems to be about him trying to sort of like get his head around that and sort of like change his life up a little bit, while also interacting with a lot of fellow comedians. So it's another thing that I'll definitely be checking out. On the 14th, they add Moneyball, which stars Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt and Philip Seymour Hoffman and a bunch of other great character actors. This is a fantastic movie about the Oakland A's and how they use data to beat other baseball teams. Sounds super dry and super boring unless you're into baseball, but it's not. This is the type of movie that anybody can watch and enjoy because it's so well written and because the performances are so fantastic. You don't need to be a baseball person to enjoy this one at all. And then on the 15th, they add Batman: The Killing Joke. This is a somewhat well-known animated movie that really features the Joker pretty heavily. It is sort of a lower budget animation style that a lot of, comic book nerds, for a better word, love. They love these movies, and The Killing Joke is a new classic in that genre. I say that because if you like Batman or you're excited for the next Batman movie, this could be a good watch. I've seen it, I liked it, and while these animated movies are not really my cup of tea, this is certainly one of the better ones. On the 16th, they add Dream Home Makeover. Not for me, but if you've cut the cord and you're missing out on some of the home makeover shows that you used to love to watch, this is at least going to fill that void a little bit. They also add Unfriended, which is sort of a found footage webcam horror movie. It did okay back when it came out. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it does have a little bit of a following. If you've never seen it, it could make for sort of a good passive watch leading up to Halloween this month. Also on the 16th, they're adding The Trial of the Chicago 7, which is the thing that they seem to be the most proud of this month, mainly because it's got a huge cast. I mean, an incredibly stacked cast. And it's written and directed by Aaron Sorkin, who is an incredibly famous screenwriter. He's most known for writing most of The West Wing, The Social Network, ton of other stuff, high drama, high boiler room type stuff. So this should be a good courtroom drama. It's only his second feature film to direct, I believe, his other one being Molly's Game, which is also on Netflix and also a good movie. So I do have at least decent expectations for this one. October 18th brings one of my top picks for the month for Halloween, and it's good for almost the whole family. It's called Paranorman. This also has a beautiful stop motion style. I mean, really one of the best to have come out in recent years, and it's just a great Halloween flick. Some of the stuff is going to be too scary for really young kids, but for 6 and up, 7 and up, it should be a fantastic Halloween watch. I personally love this movie. On the 19th, they add Unsolved Mysteries Volume 2. I liked what they did bringing Unsolved Mysteries back. It's not quite the same as it used to be for obvious reasons, but they seem to have sort of split the season up to sort of tease it out a little bit, so there's going to be more episodes dropping on the 19th. On the 21st, they add a new Netflix original movie called Rebecca. This is directed by Ben Wheatley, who did several movies like these. I like his style a lot, but it is not for everybody. Odds are this is going to be kind of weird. It looks like kind of a dark, romantic mystery thing. It's definitely right up my alley, but I do know, just based on his other movies, this is not for everybody. But anybody that likes weird movies, particularly the weird ones that I recommend, I don't know because I haven't seen it, but my guess is that this is going to be one of the standout picks this month. On the 22nd, they add Cadaver, which is a Norwegian horror film. So it is going to be foreign language. Maybe it'll be dubbed. A lot of the stuff they're adding now that is foreign language is dubbed in English, but It looks very interesting. There's sort of this almost like post-apocalyptic collapse thing happening, and then this weird sort of a ritual thing happening at like a mansion. The trailer looks pretty sick. I'm definitely going to be checking it out, and if it's good, it will get a review and a recommendation here on the channel at some point. Also on the 22nd, a major series that they're releasing called The Queens Gambit. This is actually directed by Scott Frank, who to my knowledge is not really a director, but he is famous for having written, or at least written part, of some of these fantastic movies. The production value on this show looks fantastic. It is about a girl who's sort of a chess whiz. Does not sound like enough to keep me interested, but because of who's behind it and who's in it, and the production value looking so good, another one that I'll be checking out the first couple episodes to see if there's enough there for me. But I think it is going to be a fairly hot show for certain audiences. Metallica Through the Never gets added on the 28th, and this is just a Metallica concert. It's really well shot. I don't know that non-Metallica fans are really going to enjoy it, but it's worth mentioning that there's sort of this cinematic thing happening throughout where like one of the roadies goes out and it turns into sort of this like epic adventure thing sort of in between some of the songs. So it's cooler in that respect, but again, if you don't have any interest in Metallica, I don't know that there's going to be any reason for you to watch this. Also on the 28th, Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight is a new Netflix original film that looks like kind of a bloodfest type thing. There's some beheadings and things like that from the trailer. Again, can't say whether it's good, but they are holding it out to almost right before Halloween, which is kind of interesting. Definitely going to be checking out to see if it's any good, but they're not making that big a deal out of it either, which just means it's one of the things that Netflix is not particularly proud of this month. I know we're getting to the end of the month, but we're still not done. On the 30th, they add something called His House. This is about some refugees that are hiding out in a house and then weird things start happening. The cool thing about this one is it looks beautiful. It's one of the better shot horror movies that I've seen a trailer for in a while. So if it delivers in other departments, this one could be pretty special. This is one of the ones I'm most interested in this month, but time will tell as to whether or not it's going to be any good. I think if you start to see more and more marketing for this one, then you could maybe make a safe bet that Netflix is proud of it, therefore it must be pretty good. If you don't see anything about it, it just means they're slapping it up at the end of the month and they don't care anything about it. That's typically the case. And then Somebody Feed Phil Season 4 also gets added. Just a good food show. The host is funny and kind of silly, but he gets around and sees a lot of stuff. Another one, if you're a cord cutter and you miss bizarre foods or the old Anthony Bourdain shows, if you used to like stuff like that, Somebody Feed Phil is a fantastic show. And then before I show you everything leaving at the end of the month, on the 31st, they add a movie called The 12th Man. This is going to be foreign language. It is also from Norway, but it's about some Nazi saboteurs, all of which were killed except for the 12th man, who then sort of escapes into the wilderness. So not only do you get this World War II thing with Nazis and sort of espionage, but it becomes a survival movie as well. I have not seen it, but I've looked into it, and it looks like one of the better things Netflix is adding here in the month, and it's right there at the 31st for some unknown reason. Now, here is everything leaving Netflix in October. I know they're going by kind of fast, so just pause the screen when you get a chance, but it's worth noting these are the days that they leave, which means you cannot watch these titles after midnight on that day, so you need to watch them sooner than the date listed. Let's also thank the Patreon supporters. They are the reason I make videos like this, so be sure to give them a shout out in the comments below if you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter. There are some benefits, so just follow the link in the description and see what those benefits might be if they're a good fit for you. Another way to support the show is to become a channel member. I do reviews on Netflix original movies as well as some other things that are only accessible if you become a channel member. There's a link to that in the description as well. Check them out, see if either one is for you. But likes, comments, and of course shares. If you get value out of this and you think you know somebody that might also appreciate these recommendations, share it with them. That is another good way to support the show. However you choose to support the show is greatly appreciated, but I will keep making episodes like this as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for watching this one, and you will see me on the next one.